Oh my goodness, we got a full house. What's up,
Yo,
everybody?
Against all odds.
Against all odds, the power
Everybody's
kept going
power,
out.
yeah.
The power kept going out earlier. It's crazy. Look at all these guests we have. Look at all these.
Tony's an amazing mind. Look at that. I think he disconnected.
I couldn't hold anyone.
We got Larry Roberts back. We got Tony Berardo back, and we got Fred Carroll back. We got everyone's favorite. We get letters all the time. Bring Fred back. Bring Carroll back. Bring Tony back. I've made up the Tony one. I didn't really do the.
Thanks.
Oh, there's a funny video Tony posted of me.
Of your incredible commercial podcast ads.
Tony was interviewing me on his podcast, and so he went to the bathroom or something for a few minutes, and so he just left me there, and it's like still recording. So I just started doing a commercial for him.
It's fantastic. So I went back editing, and I'm like, what the fuck?
I just started ranting, and he didn't know it was there until he went back. Anyway, all right. Well, let's kick off. Fred, we're gonna have you kick off the theme song. We gotta keep in. All right, Fred. There you go, buddy.
Here's the story of some lonely fellows who spend way too much time watching the TV. All of them have jobs and friends. Well, not really. Just between you and me.
Tony.
They made a live show out of their hobby. Every TV watcher's TV watching dream. Jeff runs Salad Bob, and there's Howard. They call it Crossing Stream.
Ooh, that was nice. Larry.
Nice.
Oh, there you go.
You took the words away.
I have mine.
And then one day they went live on all the platforms. You could hear the people laugh and shout and scream. Still can't find another word that rhymes with platform. But man, we crossed the streams.
Everybody, we crossed the
streams.
We
crossed the streams. That's the way we do it. We cross the streams.
All together, everyone at home.
We always push StreamYard to the limit with that final chorus. It cannot, even with everyone having a mic, it just cannot handle our 6-part harmony.
Nice job, Larry. You were in tune.
Man, I appreciate that. Thank you. I've been practicing.
You guys all did so great. I'm so proud of all of you.
Thank you.
We got a lot. We got lots of guests. So let's see. About time you brought someone.
Hey, Jerry.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thanks,
I
Jerry.
knew you weren't lying there.
I know, right? We did. Jerry writes in every day. So, Tony, remind everyone real quick where they can find you at.
Yeah, theberardo.com for everything, blogs. I'm a UGC creator on the side, so I create content for brands, but I also host a podcast as well. And I just started a company with a wife called Meet Cute Box, which we also have a podcast. So you can check that out at Meet Cute Box. It's a date night subscription box service. That's where we're at.
Nice.
Larry Roberts could use that. Spice
That
it up.
does sound cute.
It is.
Larry, remind everyone where they can find you.
Easiest place to find me right now, I'm really pushing Instagram, man. The gram is where it's at. So at the Larry Roberts on Instagram, please give me a follow over there.
Nice.
Double D. What's up?
What's up, man? How are you? You can find me. Right now, I'm not doing anything except with Scott Silverman. I'm doing his show now, Happy Hour Podcast, which is a addiction recovery podcast. And I'm producing that, and I'm also his co-host on it. But you could go to venomstudios.com, venomstudios.com, and find out more.
That's amazing. All right.
Sorry, what was the middle?
Real quick, just the rules of the drinking game for those playing along at home. Any technical issues, drink. If we have to be asked what platform the show we're talking about, drink. If your name's on the screen, drink. If you forget someone's name, drink. If Larry Roberts is wearing a hat other than red, drink. If someone on the show drinks, drink. That's it. And then a quick moment for our friends in Ukraine. Shout out. Yeah, just keep them going. They're fighting. They're in a war zone. And just kind of keep our minds on them for a moment. Yeah. Even though Kevin Sorbo doesn't want you to. I'll tell you that right now. But anyway, let's we lost Paul Sorvino, we mentioned last week, but I forgot to put his photo up. And the amazing Nichelle Nichols passed away as well. late 80s. I tell you, the old age. They don't talk about it enough. Old age is getting everyone. It's those are two classics.
Ugh, shitty year, man. Ray Liotta.
And there is a story going around that Edie from, now I can't think of her. She played in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and stuff. She was an actress. She was behind the counter with Steve
Edie
Martin.
McClurg.
There's a rumor that she passed away today.
Oh,
no. Usually,
Well,
if you go to TMZ.com, they usually know.
Yeah,
everything
there's a
before.
rumor, and she does have dementia at this point, and has been suffering for a few years.
She was in the news yesterday that her, one of those situations where one of her caretakers was supposedly abusing her.
Elderly abuse.
And sexual abuse of another caretaker. So, yeah, he supposedly tried to kidnap her and take her out of state to marry her and have access to her money. So, crazy.
Oh,
God, not even Dane Cook would do that.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't have any. His brother stole all of his.
Heyo, zing.
Hey.
So I heard a great comment. I read a great comment. You're talking about the trolls, today. Somebody wrote, thank God she's not old enough to have seen any of Dane Cook's comedy.
That is below the belt. I like it.
Jerry, it is not a Hello Kitty hat. It is
What is your hat, Roz?
It's the Erie Seawolves. It's the Detroit Tigers AA Farm Club.
Oh.
Wow, I didn't even know that. Seawolves?
Isn't that the same as their pro team?
No, they're better actually.
Oh, are they?
Better actually? Yeah.
Oh, do not knock my Detroit Tigers. Can you believe this is episode 83, by the way, of Crossing the Streams? Welcome everybody tuned in and across the world in replays and such. And so this is where we answer the universal question: what should I be watching now? What should I be streaming? This is where you come to find this out. 83 hours of streaming suggestions on there, and some of the best ones from Fred, Tony, and Larry, and they're bringing it today. Oh my God!
You might want to reserve your opinion before I give mine. So,
with this new James Webb telescope, really, it's just a matter of time till we're beaming to other galaxies. I mean,
oh yeah, of course. If they're not already tuned in.
They should know what's streaming too.
I know, right? Last week we talked about Archie to Riverdale and Back, which is possibly one of the greatest movies ever made. Nope. Questionable. Lower Decks, Dying Laughing, and the many, many shows of Nathan Fielder. And then today we're going to talk about Not Okay, Ninja 3, The Domination. Guess who's doing that one? Larry. Truth Be Told, and Marvelous Marvin Hagler, R.I.P, boxing's greatest warrior. And the reason I have Fish Called Wanda up there is we're not doing a review of A Fish Called Wanda, but it's a new segment called The Perfect Scene with Howard Rosner. Howard, do you want to introduce the scene, and then we're going to show a scene, and Howard's going to talk about it.
Yeah. So just for those who may not have seen, I was thinking about it watching a couple of things just as I was flipping through the channels, and just struck by how, even a mediocre movie can have just one scene, or a mediocre TV show can have one scene that's so perfectly executed, from the writing, the cinematography, the acting. The first one we did a couple weeks ago, which I think is one of the best theatrical scenes of all time, is the coin flip scene in No Country for Old Men. I think it's just a perfect piece of cinema. This one is from a comedy, A Fish Called Wanda, and I think it is comically one of the best ever. So go ahead and roll my clip, Jeff.
Do you know where they've gone? Fine. Where? The hotel. The hotel? Which hotel? Go on. It's okay. All right, wait. Slowly. plenty of time. Oh, come on! I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right, wait. Oh. Yeah, write it. Cathcart Towers Hotel?
Cathcart Towers Hotel.
Well, where is it? Ken, where is it?
Thank you. So to me, I think it is just a perfectly acted comedy piece. Obviously, two guys in John Cleese. John Cleese wrote the script, and Michael Palin, who clearly had worked together for ages on Monty Python stuff. Including the two of them doing the famous parrot sketch. So two guys who are perfectly matched to play off of one another. To me, the verbal comedy is great. Also, insensitivity to the stuttering community aside, it's Michael Palin is great, but the tone of John Cleese's voice, but more importantly, the nonverbal comedy that John Cleese does in that scene. The eye roll is the first one when he's like, okay, really? And then just the little things like his hand squeezing because he's so tense. Like, would you just say it? You can feel his frustration. And I think it's just hysterical. And then obviously just the payoff of him writing Cathcart Tower Hotel, and then Michael Palin with a clear voice going, Cathcart Tower Hotel. To me, it's a perfect comic scene. Just two guys that are so in sync and just rolls perfectly together. I remember seeing that several times in the movie theater in the summer of 1988 when it was released, including once or twice at the Prudential Town Center movie theater, of all places, for those of us here in the Detroit area.
I remember it well.
It does not exist any longer. But that is my perfect scene. I think it's just it's so well done, makes me laugh hysterically every time, and it's just a perfect piece of comic cinema in my humble opinion.
Thumbs
This has
up.
been the perfect scene with Howard Ross.
Yeah, I need a bumper.
Great job. Great job.
Thank you. All right, let's get into some reviews. Fred Carroll is gonna kick us off. We got.
I get to kick.
We get to kick off with Not Okay.
Deutsch. Wow.
Get the big Hulu show. Let's talk about Not Okay.
Well, Not Okay. Not Okay. It's right there. So Not Okay is a title irony. Absolute title irony. Because this movie, in my opinion, as an expert of absolutely nothing, this is better than okay. It's better than okay. Here's what it is. It's when a misguided young woman who is desperate for friends and fame fakes a trip to Paris to update her social media presence. A terrifying incident takes place in the real world, which becomes part of her imaginary trip and offers everything she wants. So we got to start with Zoe Deutsch. Okay. So Zoe Deutsch, beautiful girl.
Good place to start.
And if you don't know who she is, her bloodline consists of these two right here. So Howard Deutsch, who directed Pretty in Pink and Some Kind of Wonderful. Her mother is none other than the great Lorraine Baines McFly, the amazing actress. The amazing actress who lusted her own son, Marty, made out with Howard the Duck, and still managed to save the world in World War III beside Patrick Swayze. And these are all important things. And yes, she wasn't
blown my mind already. I thought that Pretty in Pink was a John Hughes movie.
It is. John Hughes wrote it, but
he didn't direct it. I did not.
He did not direct it.
Okay.
He couldn't direct it because he was busy directing something else at the time. So
I did not know that.
She was an actress engaged to Dennis Quaid during the filming of Some Kind of Wonderful, and 11 years younger, but way before the Me Too movement and canceled directors preying on their talent. Howard Deutsch admittedly took the job because he had a crush on her. So Today he'd be eliminated, but they're still married. It's 35 years later. So let's digress a little. Not Okay is a Hulu film. It's available now. And I'm known to over appreciate films that others find boring or less than, but this is my time slot on the Dwoskin show here. So listen and obey. So I like Zoe. I like Zoe Deutsch, not only because she's incredibly attractive, but also a decent comedic actress. Most of you might know her as the blonde in Zombieland 2.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, she was good in that.
Her comedic
All
timing
right.
and stuff like that. Okay, I came with pictures.
All right, good.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
She was great in that.
Here's my
movie.
favorite. That's my favorite one of her.
Oh,
Well, now.
Pretty girl. She's 29 years old. She's legal.
now she is.
I do believe this film is worthy to watch one time. It's not something you're going to go back to a million times. This isn't some classic that they created, but it's labeled as a dark comedy. It has real serious tones to it and emulates the world of influencers that we live in today. So I will now accept questions from the panel. I like it.
She was also in The Politician, which
she was.
I don't know if you saw that or not. That was with Ben Platt. It's kind of interesting. But I have no questions. On this movie.
Well, sounds like it might be okay. So,
don't you wish she was on the show, sitting right there? So much better.
How long is it? Like hour and a half? Typical movie length?
A very typical length, and it has a very abrupt ending. I was watching it with my almost 22-year-old, and all of a sudden the movie just ends. And I like that. I love open endings. I love endings that aren't what I assumed, because it really was going down a road where you could be like, okay, this is like every other movie. She's going to apologize. She's going to do this. She's going to do that. And it just didn't end that way. It kind of ended like life ends, or like in real life, you just live to move on to another day, type thing. So I enjoyed it.
Interesting. Who's the male lead in it?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to the guys.
Throw her picture
Fair
up
enough.
again. The
I got pictures of
that picture. Yeah, she reminds me of Rose Byrne, doesn't she?
Yeah, a little, but I don't like Rose Byrne.
No,
a little Carroll in there.
I was going to say a more Caucasian. What's her name? The girl that just came out with.
She definitely looks like her mother
on the Gray Man. Who's on the Gray Man?
Yeah, I just saw that too. It was not memorable.
I tried watching it, stalled out about 20 minutes in.
Yeah,
it's very Russo.
I just didn't care.
Yeah.
Didn't care.
No one else in this movie was recognizable to me as somebody besides Zoe Deutsch. I mean, it is a Hulu movie. I'm guessing their budget isn't that big for movie making. And
until they start paying us, we're calling it what are you calling it? Yulu?
Yulu. Listen, this is and before I go, because I know all you Michigan people that are on here, I want to wish my hometown softball team tomorrow is playing Michigan in the World Series.
Wow.
So my hometown girls, they're 12 and under,
right.
Enough for Dane Cook's next girlfriends.
All right.
Well, maybe they will have a hula hoop concert.
It's Hulu.
Oh.
Listen, I when you grow up between Boston and New York, you get screwed up with some accents every now and then. So it's Hulu. What do you call it? Hulu.
It's Hulu. All right.
I'm looking at the other cast members and and Beth Davids. She's been in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And then the only other one that the guy who played Dopinder in Deadpool is in the movie. So there are some other names, not big names, but other folks I definitely knew from just looking at it. So interesting.
All right, let's get
Fair
to
enough.
Truth Be Told. This is Tony Berardo is going to take us through this one.
How's my mic? You good?
Yeah, you sound much better now. Yeah.
Check 1, 2.
Chick 1, 2. So, truth be told, I'm going to get into this, but I will say, I was hesitant to watch this. It's been on my watch list for quite some time. They're in season 2 now. I forget when they started filming, but I want to say it was like maybe 2018 or 2019. So we've been kind of want to watch, but the wife wanted to really watch this, and I was not about it because it didn't look interesting until I actually read the synopsis and started diving into it. And apparently we ran out of other things to watch on Apple. So we're like, let's give it a shot, right? And has anybody seen this, by the way?
No.
Nope.
So
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
So Jeff, you might be interested in this. It's I kind of liked it because it was all about this girl who runs a podcast, which is interesting. But I mean, the actual synopsis is the murder case that propelled a true crime podcaster. Hey, not my synopsis. Don't interrupt me.
What was that?
I don't know.
Sorry.
Not guilty.
Fucking Rosner.
No, that was me.
Sorry, language. But so she finds new evidence in this case that she drummed up, and spoiler alert, the person that was in prison that she did this case on, this true crime, is Aaron Paul. So if you're a Breaking Bad fan, you get to see him in prison finally. Different show than Breaking Bad though, which is, it's kind of a mind F because you see him in prison, you're like, oh, for meth, he got in prison. Oh no, wait, different show. So it's confusing at first, but it was kind of cool to see because the entire, again, premise is she's a podcaster. She's like the most well-known podcaster in the world. And she did this story, and she thinks 20 years later, all this new evidence started coming up like a lot of crimes do, right? Now there's more technology and stuff. So it comes up and she's like, you know, I feel a little guilty. I think he was wrongfully accused. And then they go through these, 8, 9, 10 episodes of her figuring out different things and leading her on, a wild goose chase here and then here, a lot of shenanigans going on. It's the acting I wasn't too impressed with in a lot of it. It's Octavia Spencer, I think is her name, if I'm pronouncing it right. But she's a good actress, but it was a little, you could tell it was out of her comfort zone. And me, I was so irritated the entire time she was doing the podcast because she's doing it live time as she's finding this new information. But the mic was like this far away the whole time. So I was like, that right there, I'm like, gosh, as a podcaster, it hurt.
At least she wasn't using her default mic.
That's right.
And then insisted she was.
Yeah.
Shut up, Jeff.
And then had himself on mute for 20 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean,
hypothetically.
but I mean, Rotten Tomatoes give, I think it's 31% I'm looking at now, and it's 7 out of 10. 66% of Google users like this show. So the ratings are not that good, but I personally, I'm liking it. It's in season 2 now. Now it has Kate Hudson. If I had to give it a Cliff Notes, I would say it's kind of like a high production value of SVU and maybe Blacklist. A little bit of Blacklist in there, but I like how it was kind of set in 2020. You could feel it. It's very different. It's all internet, social media, that type of thing is kind of driving these crimes, and them able to solve it is all based off it. So I'm enjoying it. I think it's worth the watch. It's on Apple Plus if you got it. Again, I'm in season 2, haven't finished it yet. Season 2 is definitely a little bit more squirrely. I'm digging it. They ramped up their budget a little bit, so it's looking pretty good. So yeah.
Larry, what did you think about this show?
Yeah, I like season 1 quite a bit. I mean, just because being a podcaster and watching another show about podcasting, I mean, to me, it's kind of a only murders in the building, but a drama. Very similar concept there, but just totally different genre.
And this is becoming something now, this podcasting, because that new movie Vengeance that's out, he's a podcaster, and I think we're going to see a flood of this in the book world and movie world.
Yeah, we're on it. I mean, I even think this was based off a book, but it wasn't a book based off podcasting. I think they added that. It might have been a blogger or something, and they changed it. So it's definitely podcasting is making a shift to, change things. So it's interesting. Yeah, that's probably a better way to put it. I didn't finish that on Hulu. I watched a little bit of it with Steve Martin and Martin Short. I just couldn't get into it. Selena Gomez.
I tried as well.
Blasphemy!
Yeah, I agree with Jeff. I mean, it's I love the show.
Only Murders in the Building is amazing.
I only gave
Season
it.
2 is, I'm not really feeling season 2 as much, but season 1 was greatness.
I gave it 2 episodes. Maybe I need to give it more. For me, it was a little slow, and I don't know.
Why is it called Only Murders in the Building? The whole thing is wrong from the jump.
Because there's
Because
only
it's a
murders in the
line
building.
from the show where they
Wow, Grandpa.
Yeah, I know. Like,
When have you always been this crotchety, or am I
I
just
really
starting to
have.
notice it?
they live in a building, and there's a
Yes.
murder in the building.
Yes.
And then they want to do the podcast, and one of them says something like, "Well, how about if we only do murders in the building?"
Oh, okay.
And it's
Okay.
it's so realistic because they're making money after episode 2.
Okay.
You know, of
Well,
their
it was their
podcast.
friend that sponsored it, and they also ended up on like Jimmy Kimmel in one minute. Which
realistic.
Larry and I, this is probably a good time to announce Larry and I's new true crime podcast that we're launching.
Yes.
It's,
Only murders in crossing the streams.
Yeah.
There's only 6 of us.
Someone's going to die tonight.
Hopefully, it'll be me.
All right. So, truth be told, watch it or don't watch it. Season 1, it sounds like we love.
If you got Apple Plus, I would say watch it. This is not. I always like to judge streaming or shows based off of if I would actually buy the streaming service because of a show. I wouldn't buy Apple Plus because of this show, but I would definitely watch it if you have it for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. Well, let's go into one of the probably most important movies ever made ever. Ninja 3, The Domination.
I got to tell you, it's very, very important to me individually. And it's funny because every time I come on the show, I want to say thank you for having me back. This is my 3rd time here. And each time I've highlighted a movie that came from the 80s, early 80s, as a matter of fact. I think my first one was Flash Gordon, which was smack dab right there in 1980. My second one was Teen Wolf, which ironically enough came out in 85. And now Ninja 3, The Domination, it hit us in 84. So this was a very pivotal time in my life. And ninjas, in my opinion, were the very first superheroes. And they were so relatable to a skinny little kid that always got picked on and knew that if I could just be Daniel-san, I could rule the world. So ninjas really spoke to me. So I was a huge fan of all the ninja movies back in the day. But Ninja 3, The Domination stood out above all the other ninja movies because really it's a combination of not just a ninja movie, but you get some flash dance action in there. You get a little bit of The Exorcist in there, and then you get some great Sho Kosugi action sequences. And if you don't know who Sho Kosugi is, he's one of the stars of the Ninja series. If you think back to the 80s, there was Enter the Ninja, there was Revenge of the Ninja, and then to round out that trilogy, there was Ninja 3, The Domination. And also, you know, it's kind of interesting because it's really the production house that I really love more than anything. The movie was produced by Golan Globus. And honestly, if you think back to the 80s, they had their hands in just about every big movie cookie jar there was back then. Anything from Missing in Action with the Chuck Norris series. They did the vast majority of Jean-Claude Van Damme's movies. They did many Stallone movies from Cobra to Over the Top and so many others in between. And there's also a relatively distant tie to the last movie that I talked about, which again was Teen Wolf. They actually produced Teen Wolf 2. Now, that was horrible.
Jason
Nobody loved
Bateman.
that movie at all, but they did actually bring that to the forefront for us. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Ninja 3, The Domination.
But can I ask you? I obsess about these things.
Yes.
It'll make me crazy if I don't know. Who starred in Teen Wolf 2?
It was Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman. Okay.
Yeah, Jason Bateman came in for the sequel, and it was terrible, and it actually did quite a bit of damage to his career for a long, long time before he had an opportunity to make a comeback in another role. It was just that bad overall.
Yeah.
It was,
I feel horrible for him.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
well, I hope he finds his footing.
Yeah.
well, yeah. I mean, they said he's trying to make a comeback. They say
Yeah.
he's trying. So
Make a few
hopefully it works
bucks.
out for him. It works out for him. So
He has a
but
good career now. Going.
it's kind of in the swamp,
Okay.
isn't it?
Okay.
That hurt. Sorry. But the ninja movies again. Oh, look, my lights just went off. You know what? My lights are on a timer, guys, and it's night time here at Chez Robert. So let me turn my studio lights back on. There we go. I'm back in the house.
Nice.
But the ninja movies, they always were awesome for me, and I love Ninja 3 just because again of the mix. And it starred someone named Lucinda Dickey. who at the time was the girl for Golden Globus. They were going to make her a big star if it killed them, and that's actually what ended up happening. They collapsed long before she became a big star. But she but she also starred in one of my other favorite movies of all time, which maybe someday I'll talk about, Breakin'. Because I always wanted to be a break dancer too. So I wanted to be like a break dancing ninja. I don't know what I wanted to do back then, but she was the female star of Breakin'. And if you really want to go deeper, she was also a solid gold dancer. She was solid gold. So, I mean,
she was also in
Then
Breakin' 2. She was in Breakin' 2 and Grease 2.
Electric.
She was.
She was Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo. I mean, even for me, that one was over the top. They jumped the shark with Electric Boogaloo, but we won't get into that. But she starred here in Ninja 3: The Domination alongside Sho Kosugi, and as a big fan of ninjas back in the day, literally my bedroom was covered in Sho Kosugi ninja posters because they also had Ninja Magazine back then. What if I haven't seen Ninja 1 and 2? You don't need to see Ninja 1 and 2 to jump right into Ninja 3: The Domination. If you know what ninjas are, you're good to go. That's all you need to know. But this one's super cool because it starts off with an assassination attempt on a golf course. And to demonstrate the power of this assassin ninja that's after what you believe is probably a politician or a high-ranking official of some sort, the ninja intercepts his ball and he literally crushes the golf ball into powder in his hand to demonstrate that power. Now, as a kid, that was amazing, but I think as adults, we all know that that's never going to happen. But that seemed to be a recurring theme throughout the movie because the ninja later on in the movie crushes a pool ball, not a cue, but a pool ball in her hand, because what ends up happening is the assassin ninja, he gets killed by a bunch of police officers, but right before he dies, he runs into Lucinda Dickey, who just happens to be working on a telephone pole at the time. I don't know how that came into the mix, but he ends up passing the sword to Lucinda Dickey, and also not only passes the sword, but passes his spirit to her, and he possesses her. And he possesses her as a way to go back and kill all the police officers that killed him in the real world. So the whole movie is laid out with Lucinda Dickey being basically possessed by this ninja spirit, and she goes around killing all the cops that killed the ninja. And now we have to bring in Sho Kosugi as the good ninja, and then he has to get the spirit out of Lucinda Dickey to fight the bad ninja. The bad ninja comes back to life, and they have this big epic battle, and then the bad ninja finally gets killed, and then he spins around like Wonder Woman in a circle for no apparent reason whatsoever, buries himself in the desert. The desert opens up, swallows Sho Kosugi. They fight again in this crevice in the desert before Sho Kosugi eventually kills him dead. So it's an amazing movie filled with tons of 80s nostalgia. And if you love action scenes, I'm telling you, some of the action scenes in this movie, there was tons of ninja movies back then, but the action scenes in this movie were done really, really well. As a 35-year martial artist myself, I can pick out some wannabe karate people in the movies and understand when they're trained and not trained. And I can tell you that the vast majority of the fight scenes in this movie were done by skilled martial artists. They look beautiful. They're done well as can be for a Golden Globus movie. The editing kind of sucks, but overall, it's great action sequences, a lot of fun, and just a tremendous mix of a variety of different films all slapped together and called a ninja movie. So that's Ninja 3: The Domination.
Brilliant.
I have a question about the main character. Did they ever get the Dickey out of Lucinda? I need to know.
No,
she was possessed.
I'm pretty confident. I was going to say something really sexist, but I'm pretty confident that's how she got the role in the first place. But,
I'm certain of it. It was 1984.
I want to point out. I want to point out two highlights of that review. One is when you said kills him dead.
Yes.
I love that. That was great.
Yes.
As you can kill him a different way.
Well, he died once in the movie already, and he's still alive. So this
Kills-
time he's killed definitively.
Kills him dead. And then my other favorite part was how you answered Jerry's question so seriously. Like it was a serious question. Did I see 1 and 2? Can I?
Oh,
yeah.
And you answered it
you
without
don't
skipping a
see-
beat as if it was a serious question. And
hey, man, I'm serious about my ninja movies, damn it.
I thoroughly enjoyed that.
I liked 1 and 2.
did
I
too.
didn't like 3. It kind of lost the plot. In the third.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
I'm not
So
sure.
I-
I'm not sure anyone gets as passionate about these topics as Larry Roberts.
I get fired up, man. These
No,
movies,
I-
these are my
these-
childhood. These are my life, honestly.
Oh, I feel you.
I
love them.
I
I'm
love
the same way. So I remember seeing those were 83, 84, 85 were my prime, freshman, sophomore years of high school, and I
Yes.
was, it was nothing to be. I wasn't kissing a lot of girls apparently. A lot of Friday and Saturday nights at the movies with the boys, but. A lot of those movies you mentioned, like I remember vividly seeing Revenge of the Ninja in the movie theaters. The Delta Force I saw in the movie theaters. Runaway Train was another Golden Globus that I believe that was that I remember seeing in the movies. So those were huge. Those were,
They were massive.
it was back when Schwarzenegger was doing, a movie every 3 months that wasn't a blockbuster. Raw Deal.
Yes.
Commando.
Yes.
Predator was in there too. Predator was not the cultural icon it is now, with everybody knowing Get to the Chopper. So it was constant action movies at that time, and these were relatively low budget films, and that's what it was, just every weekend. Good
I mean, I'm
films.
so passionate about it. I belong to a Facebook group for Ninja 3 The Domination, and I belong to a Facebook group for Canon Films. I just love Canon Films.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's a group. There's like 5 of us that just freaking love
There's
it.
a group for everything.
So speaking of kind of a genre, so they did Breakin', had success with it.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, then they did Breakin' 2, but then they also did Rappin'. Also,
yes,
which was, I think, a crappy kind of wannabe version of Crush Groove.
Yeah, 100%. They did Rappin', and I don't even recall, honestly. I don't remember it being at the theaters in my town. I mean, I think I found out about it years later and ended up seeing it like on a bootleg VHS or something good. I don't ever remember Rappin' being in the theaters.
Yeah, I don't either. I like, and then of course the kind of competitor or copy of the breakdancing genre movie was Beat Street.
100%.
That was a copy of Breakin'. So,
well, see, it's interesting there because
my era as well.
Me and one of my best friends, Jeremy James Dodd. Jeremy, if you're watching right now, I know you love Beat Street, but I still say Breakin's better. There were 2 different genres. Beat Street was kind of filmed as being more of a legit street film, like it was from the streets of New York. Whereas Breakin', that was kind of the hood in actually it was in L.A. to be honest with you. And if you really want to dig a little bit deeper, guess who was in Breakin'? Many people don't know this. Many people do though. At the dance scene at the very first of the movie, we see for the first time ever
Lucinda Dickey. I'm sorry.
She was in it, yes, but Jean-Claude Van Damme made his movie debut in the movie Breakin'. You can see him dancing in the sidelines at the beach scene. So he's just kind of getting his little JCVD groove on. It's awesome.
All right. Well, I think the only way to figure out which one of those Breakin' movies is the best is a dance off. All right, man, Larry, that was awesome.
Thanks, guys.
That was fun.
Where can we see Ninja 3: The Domination?
It's available on Prime right now. So if you have a subscription to Amazon Prime, you don't even have to rent it. It's available on Prime.
Fantastic.
Our viewership just dropped to 0 as people run to Amazon Prime.
Everybody just signed up Facebook.
I might just do a Ninja watch-a-thon.
You know what? I got into the Leprechaun movies once. I couldn't stop watching those. All right. Let's do
the Leprechaun.
I know. Jennifer Aniston's best movie.
That's
all right.
Gold.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our final. Bob Phillips going where he loves best, matching Larry passion for passion with Marvin Hagler, R.I.P, boxing's greatest warrior.
Yes. Marvelous Marvin Hagler. This is a great documentary. It's only like 45 minutes long. You can catch it on YouTube. All of the highlights of his life and his career. The thing that I loved about Marvin Hagler was that he always showed up in unbelievable shape, gave every fight his all. His story is a lot like some of the ones that I've talked about here before. He's born and grows up in near poverty and sees a way out by getting into boxing. And, I won't talk too much about that, but he hooked up with a couple of Italian businessmen in Brockton, Massachusetts. Goody and was it Leo Petronelli? I forget the other brother, but anyway, they took him under their wing and promoted him, and he was so good. He couldn't get a shot at the title because everybody was afraid that they were going to lose to him. So everybody avoided him, and that was back in the day when you could do that. You could shut people aside, but now social media, everybody's calling out everybody else. It's become rather shrill. He finally got Joe Frazier took him aside and said, "Look, you're not going to get a shot at the title for a while for 3 reasons. You're black, you're a southpaw, and you're really good, and nobody wants to fight that guy." So he got a shot with a guy named Mustafa Hamsho, who was kind of an afterthought in all of this, but he beat Hamsho, but they gave the decision to Hamsho. And Hagler's career, his whole existence in the boxing world was marked by disrespect until he won the title, went over to London, beat the brakes off a guy named Alan Minner. And while he's trying to celebrate in the ring, they won't even let him put the belt on because people are throwing things in the ring. How dare this black guy come over and take the title from our beloved, Alan Minner. So anyway, he comes back to the States. He carves out a career for himself. The most boring era of excellence in the middleweight division. He's one of the top 5 guys of all time, if you ask me. And he just keeps beating guys and beating guys and beating guys. And people know that he's good, but he can't get the big fight. Leonard won't fight him. He doesn't have an Olympic career to fall back on. He had a 55-1 amateur career, and even the one that he supposedly lost, that's debatable. He was just so good that you just got used to seeing him and going, yeah, okay, he's going to win. He was like Tyson before there was Tyson. Well, then when I did this one, I guess 6 months ago, or maybe longer than that, about the 3 kings, the 4 kings boxing in the 80s, Duran, Leonard, Hearns, and Hagler. Well, these guys started to fight each other. So Duran comes up from lightweight and decides to fight Hagler at middleweight. And everybody's going, dude, Duran's a lightweight. You should mop the floor with him. Well, he doesn't. Duran gives him hell, but Hagler wins the fight anyway. Still no respect. He's still making decent money, but nothing like Leonard, nothing like Hearns. Well, then he finally gets to fight Hearns, and we know what happened there. They call it the best 3 rounds in boxing history. Yeah. I'm going to disagree with that. It's the best first round, the best round in boxing history. Yeah. And so then everybody's like, ooh, okay, this is the casual fan is now tuned into Marvin Hagler. Well, he still can't get any respect because he keeps wanting to, have people call him Marvelous Marvin Hagler, and they won't. They won't say it in the promotions. They won't say it on TV. So he literally goes to court and legally changes his name to Marvelous Marvin Hagler. So they have to call him that. So it's just a strange thing to me looking back on that, how he was revered later on. The guy held the middleweight title for 7 years. 7 years. I mean, that's unheard of. Guys hold a belt for a year, maybe 2, 3 fights. He just kept knocking guys out. Whatever they put in front of him, he beat them. And then he finally gets the big money fight with Sugar Ray Leonard, the thing he always wanted because he couldn't stand Leonard. Leonard had all the things that he didn't have when he was coming up, the Olympic fame, the endorsements and everything. And Hagler was just sort of unto himself. So he finally gets the fight with Leonard in 1986, and he loses. But he doesn't lose. He beat Leonard. But Leonard employed this strategy that he had done before in other fights where the last 30 seconds he would go in and rat-a-tat-tat-tat, flurry, bounce a bunch of punches off Marvin's dome, and would steal the round. So he's had enough at that point. He's just had enough of the disrespect. He's had enough of everybody getting the big, all the accolades. So he says, I'm out of here. He literally leaves. He moves to Italy and becomes an actor, lives in Milan, and never comes back for, I think, my God, I don't know, it was 20 years, something like that. didn't want to come to Vegas to be a part of any other fights. Just had enough of it. Said, I'm making a ton of money over here. He was like doing spaghetti west. I don't even know what he did, but eventually he did come back and kind of bury the hatchet with Sugar Ray, and everybody now realizes what an awesome fighter he was. And then unfortunately he passed a year ago, not quite a year ago. There was some kind of thought that he might have died of COVID. They did not prove that one way or another. I think it was a heart attack. But then, of course, when he dies, the whole boxing world comes out and says, "Oh my God, we can't believe we had this guy in our midst and we didn't know it. We didn't know what we had." And so if you look back on his career, if you're a boxing fan or even a casual boxing fan, you just think, my Lord, he just beat everybody they put in front of him. And that's all you can ask from a fighter. And he did it. He did it with grace. He did it with, he didn't lip off. He just did his job. So that was Marvin Hagler.
Yeah, the relationship between those two, or the scenario with Leonard and Hagler, was very, very similar on a smaller scale to Ali and Frazier, right? Frazier was a hero of the Black community. And Ali was a hero of everybody, but sorry, it was in reverse.
Yep. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Muhammad had all the jazz behind him.
Yeah, and Leonard was, Leonard was very flashy and used that to his advantage and got bigger paydays, got those kind of things. I'll tell you, one of the best fights I ever saw in my life was during that run with Hagler as middleweight champ. Was one of the most brutal fights I ever saw was him against John the Beast Mugabe, when those two guys just pounded each other for 12, 15 rounds at the time.
That was a good one.
Yeah, crazy.
I think this whole thing would have been better if it went off like Jeff said. Jeff very badly at the beginning wanted to say Marvelous Marvin Hamlish. He did.
My mother called him Marvin Haglish.
He very badly wanted to say Marvin Hamlish, and if you listen back to the show, you will hear it too.
Everybody's got to watch it in replays now.
Man, too funny.
Well, when he went to Italy, he was starring in movies, right?
Yeah, and I've never seen a single frame.
I'm pretty sure they were ninja movies.
Were they? Last thing I'll say about it, in the fight with Leonard, which proved to be his last fight, he was so frustrated with that tactic that Leonard would employ, and then he would dance for the other 2.5 minutes. And Hagler stood in the center of the ring and said, "Fight me, you little bitch." And they got it on the mic.
I mean, Leonard used that same tactic in the second Hearns fight, which all of us, especially being Detroiters, firmly believe there's no question Hearns won that fight.
He won that fight.
Yeah, he clearly won that fight, but it was the same thing. He flurried late in rounds that gave him rounds that were really dominated otherwise by Hearns. So, but Hagler was a great fighter, just so straightforward, just to come straight ahead. I mean, a good boxer and a great slugger, but just one of those guys that just showed up to fight, pure and simple
every time.
Yeah, and I love watching his fight. That was obviously the era that I too was a huge boxing fan, and I love watching Hagler fight.
Bob, every time you do a boxing thing, it makes me realize I'm missing out on something here. You make it seem so
exciting.
Interesting.
Hey, I have another quick little thing, not a full-on review, but just something quick. So one of the shows that was on a streaming, I mean, I guess it was feasibly streaming, but we would watch live or record and watch for a year or two. My wife and I, especially in the early parts of the pandemic, for every Friday and Saturday night was Live PD on A&E. Which, if you never watched Live PD, it's I always try and describe it for sports fans as it's a combination of Cops and the NFL Red Zone channel. It's like, let's go to this place, and it's live, but on half-hour delay, just in case, God forbid, anything happened. But we loved it, and it went off the air. As it turned out, they had two things kind of come together. And obviously, during the summer of 2020, with all the George Floyd blowback, and also at that same time, they had a case on one of their recorded stops, which never aired, where a accused suspect died in custody. So it was sort of a really bad combination, and A&E canceled the show. They just brought it back 2 weeks ago under a new name called On Patrol Live on the Reels Network. The first show was so bad technically by Reels, if you could even find it, that like it wasn't on for like 45 minutes. It was just a black screen.
Like Reels, like Instagram Reels?
No. R-E-E-L-Z.
I'm gonna guess not Instagram.
Yeah, no.
Reels.
No,
No,
not
it's
Instagram.
it's a network. Reels, Reelz. It's
okay.
you probably got to go deep into your basic cable to find it. But then by the second night it got better, and then last week they had it up and running, and we love it. We are like, it's not like Cops, which is edited. There's some pieces that are edited. It is one of the easiest way to blow a couple hours just watching just interesting live television. It's great.
Well, what's cool about it, Roz, is like I used to love live PD, so I'll check that out. I'll whip out my bunny ears on my antenna and get that Reels. But yeah, what was cool about is you'll get like a traffic stop, and it'll be basic, no big deal. And then 2 later or 3 later, it'll be like a B&E, and it'll get super intense. And then you're like, oh, this is okay. So this is serious. And then you're hooked.
Well, and there's always fun stuff to stop. Like they might just, first of all, it's a lot of times it's the same. They always have like 6 or 7. They always have like 6 or 7 police, cities or counties that are on, and they'll have 2 or 3 cars from each, and they just go back and forth, just looking at things that are potentially happening. And a lot of times it's the same officers from week to week, so they kind of become celebrities. So, I mean, that's great. A lot of those celebrities are back now, and the hosts. Dan Abrams, who's a political commentator, done a lot of other bigger things on network. He's great as a host. A guy named Sean Sticks Larkin, who was in the early years was one of the known cops that did a lot of the things. He became an in-studio host. He's back. It's great for any of you out there that were live PD fans. I highly suggest On Patrol Live. It's 9 to midnight Friday and Saturday every week. It's great. I love it.
All right.
Nice.
This wraps up episode 83. Thank you guys. We appreciate our guest. Larry, remind everyone where they can find Larry Roberts.
Yeah, hit me up over on the IG at let me say that one more time, for the 4th time, the Larry Roberts.
All right. Double D.
You can find me at www.venomstudios.com, or go to my Instagram also at author Fred. That's Fred with 2 D's, and find me there. And Rosner has great eyesight, apparently, compared to all of us. He's the only one without glasses.
I do have glasses. I need them for distance, not reading.
Yeah. Okay.
Tony.
On purpose, so we look like dorks.
That's right.
Yeah, you could follow me at the Berardo on everything. Check out my podcast, and of course, check out Meet Cute Box if you or your spouse want a little date night box. Me and my wife started a company a few months ago, going well. Meet Cute Box. But thanks for having me on. This is always fun, man. I appreciate it, Jeff.
Always a good time. Roz, say good night.
Good night. I'll be on my couch, icing my back if anybody needs me, and chasing the newest puppy around the Rosner household.
Bob Phillips.
Hey, if you're in Sarasota, Florida, August 16th through the 21st. Come see me at McCurdy's Comedy Club and every month at Janetti's, the Sal and Bob Show.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Didn't
Let's
you
go to.
videotape that? I want the video.
I know. Let's go to Florida in the middle of August.
Yeah, I'll be at the Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle August 25th, 26th, and 27th. You can come see me there. And what else? That's about it. All right. Check out Bob and my podcast, Classic Conversations, the Sal and Bob Show. We're awesome. And we'll see you next time. And that has been another episode of Crossing the Streams. Join us every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, live on Facebook and YouTube. Follow The Jeff Dwoskin Show on YouTube to be alerted every time we go live with your hosts, Jeff Dwoskin, Ron Lippett, Howard Rosner, Bob Phillips, Sal D'Amelio. We're all in the socials. Follow us, listen to our podcasts, Classic Conversations, and The Sal and Bob Show. Check them all out, and we'll see you next week and every week when we cross more streams right here. See you then.